domestic terrorists in Portland has now been delayed by a few days. KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey has the latest on Oregon's lawsuit aimed at blocking the deployment.
Former Washington Attorney General Rob McKenna says Oregon will need to convince a federal judge the president does not have the authority to mobilize the 200 National Guard troops to Portland. He also says the president wants to use the troops, which have been undergoing training in law enforcement tactics, to make him look tough on crime.
In his first term, there were riots, and I've heard speculation that he regrets that he didn't take stronger action at that time. And
the Guard troops were originally scheduled to arrive in Portland by Thursday. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
So far, mobilization and police training for the Guard troops have cost the federal government an estimated $3.8 million. Meanwhile, the federal government shutdown is affecting veteran services here in Washington. KIRO 7 TV's Samantha Lomi-Bao spoke with a veteran upset about an email written by the VA.
Navy veteran Daniel Fisk Bennett isn't talking about the listed changes. He's upset by what the VA wrote in that email, stating, quote, "Unfortunately, Democrats are blocking this continuing resolution in the U.S. Senate due to unrelated policy demands."
This is not what the VA is for. It's there for a specific job, and federal agencies should never be making political statements because they're supposed to serve all of us, not just who's on their particular side of the aisle.
It's not just the VA. Similar messages coming from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and the State Department websites.
Despite the government shutdown, Postal Service, SNAP benefits, and Social Security services are still running. KIRO 7 TV's Brandon Thompson went to Bellevue Social Security office.
Sally Hanley helps people apply to get a Social Security number in order to get paid.
The longer it's delayed, the more it can inconvenience folks.
12% of the Social Security Administration staff is furloughed. Checks will still be sent. People can still apply to be put on Social Security and make some changes, but other changes and services will be delayed until the government reopens.
Washington Public Lands Commissioner Dave Upthegrove visited fire crews working on the Labor Mountain Fire and the Lower Sugarloaf Fire on Wednesday.
If the legislature doesn't restore our wildfire prevention and response funding, we will see more fires, bigger fires, and higher costs to taxpayers, with more smoke impacting people's health.
The commissioner said the efforts to fight the fires can cost upwards of $1 million per day. Both of these fires are still raging. The Labor Mountain Fire forcing evacuations and road closures, still just 7% contained. The Lower Sugarloaf Fire, meantime, is 48% contained, but it is still the largest fire in our state right now.
That was KIRO 7 TV's Elle Thomas reporting. A new study from UW Medicine finds that wildfire smoke exposure may affect sperm.
Researchers analyzed samples from 84 men undergoing fertility treatments between 2018 and 2022. In 18, 20, and 22, there were major smoke events in the Seattle area, and the study found consistent declines in sperm count during those times. Dr. Tristan Nicholson, assistant professor of urology at UW Medicine, was the lead author on the study.
Wildfires have increased in both frequency and intensity. We expect that there may be more impacts.
One question the study didn't answer: does sperm count go back up when the wildfire smoke clears? Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
The Seattle Mariners are doing their part to stay sharp for the playoffs. Wednesday, the team held the first of two scrimmages in front of fans. Center fielder Julio Rodriguez.
You know, we've been playing a really long year, so any extra days that you can rest and kind of prepare and kind of get a little bit of a fresh start, I think it's huge for the team.
The next scrimmage is already sold out, capped at 5,000 fans. The Mariners will find out today who they'll face this Saturday. It's either going to be the Detroit Tigers or the Cleveland Guardians. Now to your KIRO News Radio real-time traffic. Everett to Seattle right now about 27 minutes. Linwood to Seattle 15 minutes. Tacoma to Seattle about 36 minutes right now. And for your forecast on this Thursday morning, we're going to stay with a few scattered showers into the day. It'll be partly cloudy this afternoon. Highs will be close to 70 right now. It's about 51 in downtown Seattle. Coming up, comedian Drew Lynch on his career so far and gaining notoriety for an odd on-stage event. I'm Katrina Gashard. You're listening to KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This hour of Seattle's Morning News is brought to you by Closets by Design Seattle.
Touchdown Seahawks.
Celebrating 50 years of Seahawks football.
Number 54, Bobby Wagner, linebacker, one of the finest of his generation. He set just about every tackling record that can be set. He was the heart and soul of one of the best defenses to ever play in the National Football League.
The Seahawks go for a fourth straight win, hosting Tampa Bay Sunday before the 12s. Kickoff at 1:05, pregame at 10 a.m.
Right here on KIRO Newsradio on 97.3 FM.
What if you had the smartest Wi-Fi? If you did, it'd be Xfinity, of course, and it'd come with their best state-of-the-art equipment. It would boost speeds to the devices that needed them most, prioritizing your most important connections, whether you were streaming, gaming, or gaming while pretending to work. And it would let you stream 4. That's right, 4 games on one screen. It would even power your mobile connection so you could bring faster, secure Wi-Fi speeds with you where you use it most. It would be proactive and fix problems before you knew you had them. Impressive, right? And it would have security features that protect you from threats at home and online. Kinda like a force field for your life. If you had the smartest Wi-Fi, well, everything would work together seamlessly to keep you connected, no matter what. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply.
I had pain, I had numbness in my feet. That pain and that numbness just got worse and worse and worse as time went on.
This is Greg describing life with neuropathy.
I went to 5 podiatrists, tried different treatments, tried different orthotics, tried different shoes, had cortisone shots in the tops and the bottoms of my feet. Saw a neurologist. All my medical doctors said, can't help you. Live with the pain. You're not going to be able to sleep. This is your life. And then I just gave up until I found Sound Pain Solutions.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. Our neuropathy treatments can rehabilitate damaged nerves. We use FDA-cleared, non-surgical, drug and pain-free procedures that help neuropathy sufferers like Greg find relief.
I feel better. I mean, just feeling better is huge.
If you experience numbness, shooting or burning pains, or loss of balance, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025 or click soundpainsolutions.com.
This is Chris Davis with the Davis Law Group. Did you know that a pedestrian does not have to be crossing the street on a marked crosswalk to have a successful legal claim against the driver? Pedestrians can even be partially at fault for a collision and still have a valuable claim. Call us today for a free consultation or get my free book on pedestrian accident law at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com. That's Davis Law Group, better service and even better results.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales event this Saturday, October 4th through October 19th. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event starting this Saturday. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder and equal housing opportunity builder.
Hear it live, stream it online, watch the show, or catch the podcast anytime.
Seattle's Morning News, wherever you are.
Well, he has made millions laugh and inspired just as many.
For a long time, a lot of people, they called me the stuttering comedian. And that's because for over 10 years, I had a really bad publicist. But I also had a really bad stutter. Good stutter, bad stutter. I don't know, because one time I stuttered for so long, this guy was like, that was a good one. And I was like, stop molesting me. And guys, I'm joking. I couldn't say stop because of the stutter. You're okay, come on. We'll get through this. Just to quote my uncle, but
Comedian and actor Drew Lynch has stole America's heart on season 10 of America's Got Talent. He got the golden buzzer, finished runner-up. For some time known as the stuttering comedian, he is coming to Tacoma's Comedy Club in downtown Tacoma this week. Drew, welcome to Seattle's Morning News. Nice to have you.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Drew, I just want to get started with walk us through a little bit of your background, your career. You were known, at least at the beginning, as a stuttering comedian. This had something to do with a traumatic brain injury?
Yeah, so that was certainly not a title I gave myself. That kind of makes it sound like I superimposed a name as like a hero of some type, just to fight crime or something. It felt very just kind of bestowed upon me, but I understand where it came from because in the very early on into my adulthood, I was 20 years old and I was playing shortstop on a softball team, and just as a freak accident, a grounder kind of went sideways when I was trying to field it, and it had hit me in my throat, and I'd fallen and hit my head on the ground, not really thinking anything of it. It was just kind of like, oh, this is just a routine, error. And I had a vocal contusion and a major concussion that was later diagnosed as a TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury from the impact of my head smacking the ground. And so the next day I woke up, my roommate had to rush me to the hospital because my speech was all, I was disoriented. My speech was really staccato and slurred, and I didn't have motor, like the nerve feelings and control of my motor skills on the left side of my body. So it was a pretty freaky thing, and so like such a pivotal moment to my already existing career, because I didn't want to do stand up. I just I hadn't tried it, and so I was out in LA to do acting, and I'd already had a manager, an agent, and auditions and callbacks, appointments. I was on hold for things for CBS that week, the week that my injury happened. So when I couldn't get hired anymore as an actor, that was when I kind of turned to stand up as just the next best outlet.
I got to tell you, your tour popped on my radar because of what happened in Spokane, not to bring the conversation down again, but that was amazing. Has everyone recovered? When you were in Spokane, an audience member had a heart attack.
Yeah, it was kind of rude, honestly. I hate when people pretend to have a heart attack in order to get out of seeing the rest of my show. It's super frustrating. It happens every week.
He's fine, right? Let's point out that
yes,
the guy
of course
is fine.
He is. Oh, yes, of course. Yes. Well, come on. You want comedy, and now you're all being sensitive. Like, is he okay? Is he all right? Yeah, he's fine. He's alive and well. We text every day. You know what? I'm going to call him right now. I'm going to FaceTime him. You got 2 guests on now.
That would be awesome if you can make that happen.
It would be awesome, actually. He's. I text him pretty much every other day, and to kind of like tell you what happened in Spokane. I was just about 10 or 12 minutes into the set. And then a guy had collapsed in the crowd, and everybody else in the audience, they responded immediately. Like people helped him to the ground. People were starting to clear out furniture, and then you hear someone announce. They say, "I'm administering CPR," and then someone else said, "I'll be your second." Someone immediately locked into checking his vitals to try to get him a pulse. Someone called 911. Someone moved their car out of the front entrance. So when the paramedics arrived, like all this happened silently. It was like quiet but deliberate communication, and it just felt like it was being in an operating room. And he had no pulse for over 5 minutes, and then they brought him back just before the paramedics got there. They were able to revive him. And so my openers and we went to see him the next day in the hospital to cheer him up, finish the show. And it's a pretty amazing story. And because I like truly, we all witnessed a miracle that night, and we didn't know how the rest of the night was going. Like I have no idea how the rest of the night would look had we lost him.
Well, Drew Lynch, we're looking forward to you performing in Tacoma. You're at the Tacoma Comedy Club. Is coming up Thursday through Saturday, and if people want to find out more, we do have details we have on mynorthwest.com. Drew, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great show. Take care.
For your KIRO News Radio forecast, more showers today and some gusty winds. Highs will be close to 70. Right now, it's about 51 in downtown Seattle. Coming up, G. Scott on Seattle's minimum wage set to go up next year. I'm Katrina Gashard. You're listening to KIRO News Radio.
Whatever temperatures this winter brings, your friendly and knowledgeable Bryant dealer is ready to help. Your dealer is committed to achieving a high level of training and skills, backed by outstanding products from one of the industry's most trusted names, Bryant. Whether you need a quick fix or an entirely new heating system, your local Bryant dealer will do whatever it takes for your family's comfort.
Schedule an appointment today. Visit BryantNorthwest.com for a dealer near you. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Contractors and heavy equipment operators, get ready for a big one. The James D. Murphy Company brings you the huge Marysville Heavy Equipment, Contractors Equipment, Trucks, and Vehicles online auction. And bidding is underway now. On the auction block, 10 excavators, including a 2021 Komatsu PC88MR and a 2018 Komatsu PC238, a 2017 Komatsu WA320-8 wheel loader, a 2003 John Deere 770 OCH motor grader, plus 4 backhoes, 3 reach lifts, and 4 boom lifts. There's 5 dump trucks, including a 2015 Peterbilt 367 Super Solo and 2 Western Star quad-axle roll-off trucks, and much more. Preview all equipment Tuesday, October 7th and Wednesday, October the 8th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at our Marysville yard, 3803 136th Street Northeast in Marysville. Get all details now at murphyauction.com. That's murphyauction.com.
If you're a veteran struggling with your monthly bills, VA loan expert Steve Teitler of Best Mortgage has some good news for you.
Rates have dropped recently, and this could be a great time for our veterans to think about a cash-out refinance to get out of your high-interest rate debt. For example, one of our clients had a 2.25% VA loan, but he owed more than $155,000 on credit cards and a home equity loan. So we paid off all of that debt and replaced his mortgage with a VA cash-out refinance. And the new VA loan saved him $1,268 per month. So give us a call and see if a VA cash-out refi can help save you money. And remember, with a VA loan, you can buy a home with no money down.
And you can help non-veterans as well.
That's right. If you have a conventional loan, we'll run the numbers and see if we can help save you money, too.
Honest advice you can trust from the VA loan experts, Best Mortgage. Call now, 425-649-6000. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
Spike O'Neill here with Dr. Matthew Sharp, owner of Sharp Vision Modern LASIK Lens. Dr. Sharp, I am amazed at the brightness and the clarity that I didn't even realize I'd lost before I had my procedure. How's that even possible?
A lot of people don't realize that. As you get older, the lens not only is less flexible, but it gets less transparent. And gradually, even in our 40s, 50s, 60s, the lens variety does get less transparent. So you get more glare at night, more halos, loss of contrast sensitivity, loss of some color vision or decreased color vision.
Exactly what I was seeing.
And so when we replace that lens that gets cloudier and cloudier with a crystal clear lens, all of the light gets through, all of the clarity, all the brightness, all the colors. And again, with the multifocal lenses that we have, it's sort of like a bifocal built in, so you can see near and far.
Give the folks at Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens a call at 425-451-2020 or online at sharp-vision.com. Sharp with an E-vision.com.
Homes are sitting, but the bottleneck is about to break. Set yourself up for success by working with a team that doesn't just set up your listings and let it sit. The Novak team creates a marketing strategy that's hands down proven successful. Mike sold over 1,500 homes and guarantees to sell your home in 21 days. If Mike doesn't get your home under contract within 21 days, he sells it for free. That is no commission for Mike. Go to meetthenovaks.com. That's meetthenovaks, NOVAKS.com.
If you've been considering surgery or even joint replacement, let me suggest something. Hi, it's Dave Ross. I've now talked to over 200 patients of Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, so many of whom have told me about the life-changing results, and those are their words, after treatment at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. These are people with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, and they tell me that they're back hiking, jogging, playing tennis, skiing, golfing, walking up and down stairs, playing with the kids, the grandkids, and doing it without pain and without surgery. Dr. Mark Wagner's 60-minute outpatient procedure uses your own stem cells, and because they're your own stem cells, they can help regenerate your own cartilage in your own joints. Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, is a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience, and he's performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Also, he's one of the few doing it the right way. So listen to his patients, and remember, whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before you choose surgery, first see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD. Get the facts, then get back in the game at drmarkwagnermd.com.
You're miracle workers.
Don't know about that.
My drain was clogged.
Right.
You came in a jiffy.
And got right to work?
Now it's clear.
It's what we do.
Like I said, you're miracle workers.
Actually, we're plumbers.
Apollo plumbers.
You want to see some real miracle workers?
Huh?
Just take a look at Seattle Children's.
Sure.
They're all hope, care, and cure.
All true.
And together, we can help them.
How so?
Your service fee?
Yeah?
Apollo Plumbing is donating it.
To benefit Seattle Children's Hospital.
We're donating all our service fees.
All month.
To help Seattle Children's provide outstanding care and support research.
And ensure no child in need is ever turned away.
That's the goal.
Gotta love that.
Gotta love the work they do at Seattle Children's.
So, I call, you come.
Apollo donates your service fee. All our service fees.
All month?
All the way to $20,000.
That's so Apollo Plumbing.
Always ready, right now.
You really are miracle workers.
Aren't we all?
Maybe so.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
The markets and the economy will change, but you should always know what you can rely on from your financial advisor. I'm John Ramsire with Baird Private Wealth Management in Seattle. With deep planning and investment expertise, Baird's financial advisors have guided individuals and families through changing markets for more than 100 years. And in all that time, our guiding principle has never changed. Our clients come first, always. Discover the Baird difference at rwbaird.com/Seattle.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning. I'm Katrina Gashard. 2 people are dead after a deadly targeted attack on a synagogue in Greater Manchester. At least 4 people were hit by a car, and at least 1 person believed to be a security guard was stabbed. CBS's Rami Inocencio reports.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said, quote, "I am appalled by the attack at the synagogue. The fact that this has taken place on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, makes it all the more horrific." He is now flying back early from a summit in Denmark, and he said he is deploying more security forces, more police to other synagogues across the United Kingdom.
The person believed to be responsible for the attack was shot by responding officers. It's day 2 of the government shutdown, and President Trump has threatened mass layoffs, and now he says he'll take aim at projects important to Democrats. CBS's Nicole Killian is on Capitol Hill with more.
From the Capitol to the Washington Monument, signs of a shutdown are everywhere. The National Zoo, part of the Smithsonian, is open for now, but could run out of funding by next week. No treat for Yael Krigman, who has owned a bakery across the street for more than a decade.
When they don't go to the zoo, they don't come across the street to Baked by Yael, and we lose out on sales.
Around the country, the federal fallout is growing, with an estimated 750,000 government workers furloughed.
Washington veterans are voicing their frustration after a Department of Veteran Affairs email blamed Democrats for the government shutdown. The message sent Wednesday outlined which VA services are paused, but also included a statement accusing Democrats of blocking the funding. Navy veteran Daniel Fisk Bennett tells KIRO 7 TV.
Basically tried to party blame. We did not swear an oath to a party. We swore an oath to the Constitution.
Beyond the politics, essential services like medical care and crisis support remain operational, while career counseling and some call centers are temporarily closed. The King County Prosecutor's Office is ramping up its efforts to prevent school violence and to keep kids out of trouble. KIRO News Radio's James Lynch has more.
Rather than just prosecuting after a crime, the office is being more proactive with its safer schools strategies, including helping schools with threat assessments and increasing communications between schools, prosecutors, police, and parents. Juvenile prosecutor Diana Chan.
We're availing these kids of services much earlier and really pushing community connection and community support at a much earlier stage.
Prosecutors can now also seek extreme risk protection orders, civil in nature rather than criminal, to keep kids out of the system. James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
11 Pierce County Sheriff's deputies are leaving the sheriff's office, making the lateral move to the Tacoma Police Department. That's according to Pierce County Deputy Sheriff's Independent Guild President, Sergeant Sean Darby. He says it's all about money.
The only law enforcement agency that the Pierce County Sheriff's Office makes more than with all the jurisdictions in Pierce County is the Ording Police Department. Everybody makes more money than we do.
Darby says he expects even more departures before the end of the year. The sheriff's office had no comment for this story. The Mariners will need to wait just a few more hours to learn their next playoff opponent after the Cleveland Guardians evened up the series against the Detroit Tigers.
3-run homer! 6-1 Cleveland.
Detroit and Cleveland meet today to decide the series. The winner comes to Seattle on Saturday. Now to your KIRO News Radio real-time traffic. Tacoma to Seattle about 36 minutes right now. Puyallup to Renton about 25 minutes. Everett to Bellevue about 30. For your KIRO News Radio forecast, we've got some more showers today and a few gusty winds. Highs will be close to 70. Right now, it's about 51 in downtown Seattle. I'm Katrina Gashard. You're listening to KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News. Seattle's morning news. Hear it live, stream it online, watch the show, or catch the podcast anytime on mynorthwest.com.
And here he is, joining us from the G and Ursula Show and the Reset Podcast. G. Scott is here. Good morning, G.
Hey, good morning. By the way, on the Reset Podcast, we get a chance, there's a brand new episode with an interview with Jackson Smith and Jigba. It's really cool. You want to go to it on YouTube, The Reset with G. Scott. Good morning to you guys. Amanda, how you doing, girl?
I'm great. We had a couple of people on the text line very concerned that you weren't going to make it in on time this morning.
Why? What happened?
Because it's taking 3 hours to get from Tacoma to here.
Nah, me and Sully have made up.
Well, you get up.
Our traffic woes, and unfortunately, I do get up early.
You get up early enough.
But this Sully, every Friday, Sully, you come in and you set us straight for the weekend. Okay,
yeah, I will.
I mean, we got to do that. All right, let's talk about minimum wage.
Yeah.
Right now, starting in 2026, the Seattle's minimum wage will go up again from $20.76 to $21.30. Now, no, that's not random. That's the city with its wage floor to inflation. So as the cost of living climbs, everything else climbs. Well, paychecks needs to rise too. So there's a 50 cent raise. There's a lot of people who get upset about these things, and to which I really scratch my head at that. You know what I mean? I scratch my head at someone being upset. And so when you're upset about minimum wage going up, are you upset at other people's checks, or are you upset at your own check? Like, for an example, here at work, I've never talked to any of my coworkers that have been in a bad mood, and I say to them, hey, Charlie, what's going on? They gave me a 50-cent raise, and I'm pissed. Like, that doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand the selective outrage when it comes to the minimum wage.
Charlie does get pissed when I get a raise, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets really mad.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
But being serious, why it's important, as we all know, gas, we talk about that all the time. We talk about groceries. By the way, can we just talk about groceries? Mm-hmm. The groceries are serious. The price of beef is like, hey, what? Are you serious? All of those things going up. It's just crazy. But when I think about this story, every time I think about Seattle and the state of Seattle's minimum wage, or the state of Washington's minimum wage, which is the highest in the country, no doubt about it, I am forced to really remember, and I need to shout out the point that our federal minimum wage is still $7.25. It has been that way since 2009. And so somebody says, well, that's no big deal, because what about the states? There are 20 states that abide by the $7.25 rule. That's archaic. $7.50? I mean, back then, that if you had $7.50, that's like $10 today. So the fact that it hasn't raised is crazy.
So $20 extra a week if you're working full time. I still don't think that's going to cover a lot, considering how much more everything is costing. You have talked about the universal basic income before. You still in favor of that?
Yes. 1,000,000%. And the reason why I'm in favor of it, and would I take less money so that other people can be able to? Yes, I would. Yes, I would. And the reason why is because this is ridiculous right now. You have a bunch of grown men and women and people here in the city of Seattle working full-time jobs, 40 hours a week, and you ask them, hey, well, are you going to buy a home? No, they can't. They can't buy a home. As a matter of fact, right now, they just came out with a study that right now in this area, the Pacific Northwest, 1 in 6 people just give up on wanting to buy a home. They're just done. So it's ridiculous. So yes, I would. But again, these are things that are frowned upon. As far as the federal minimum wage, $7.25, it has been attempted to be raised a bunch of times, and it continues to fail.
Coming up, we'll have national headlines. You're listening to KIRO News Radio.
The Northwest's trusted news source, KIRO News Radio.
Police in Federal Way are investigating what appears to be a car explosion.
KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey is live from the neighborhood.
I can't tell you enough how crazy this scene is here.
Coverage you depend on.
A massive police presence in Kent.
From voices you know and trust.
We have an active fire inside one of these buildings here.
KIRO News Radio. On 97.3 FM, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
I saw her texting, coming up to a stop sign. And so I saw the accident coming and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions. 855-996-0025 or click soundpainsolutions.com.
CBS News Brief, day 2 of a government shutdown, and Vice President Vance warns the economic pain could go deeper.
If this thing drags on for another few days or, God forbid, another few weeks, we are going to have to lay people off.
Republicans and Democrats are blaming each other for the stalemate. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
This is not a partisan issue. Defending access to health care that's affordable.
Police in the UK say one man was stabbed, 4 people injured when a car drove into them outside a synagogue on this Yom Kippur. Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham.
I can obviously give people that immediate reassurance not to worry too much. The situation has been dealt with very effectively by those on site and by Greater Manchester Police.
The suspect shot by police. 2 Delta regional jets clipped wings on a runway at New York's LaGuardia Airport.
We have 2
PRJs on mic that collided.
Airport officials say one flight attendant was injured. CBS News Brief. I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
For your KIRO News Radio forecast, more showers today with a few gusty winds. Highs will be close to 70. Right now, it's about 51 in downtown Seattle. Coming up, former State Attorney General Rob McKenna explains the lawsuit being filed against the Trump administration by Oregon's Attorney General. I'm Katrina Gashard. You're listening to KIRO News Radio.
Hey, how's your money situation? Are you ready for retirement? Well, if you want to know what the pros are doing to make wealth multiply and retire like royalty, then you need to listen to this show, Sound Path Through Retirement, with Ben Koval and Matt Leibarger. Get your money right and tune in every weekend, Saturdays at 10 a.m. and noon on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
KIRO News Radio is teaming up with Global Credit Union to support our veterans with the Invest in Our Veterans program. For more than 75 years, Global Credit Union has been committed to our military communities and to organizations that back our military and their families. Do you know a nonprofit serving our heroes that could use additional funding? Head to mynorthwest.com/veterans to nominate an organization to receive $1,000 to support their mission. Let's invest in our veterans. Go to mynorthwest.com/veterans.
Jason Rance here with our local tax expert and advocate Greg Nunn from None Better Tax Resolution. So you and I have talked before about the folks who think they can do this themselves. And again, I imagine there are a lot of people who are saying, well, new administration, fewer staff members, now I truly can get it done.
Really, in this situation, I do feel really bad for the taxpayer because here you're getting a notice. You call the IRS, you're going to be on hold for 45 minutes to an hour. And so getting through is going to be more difficult. And when you do get through, you're going to be talking to people that are not as well trained as they have been in the past.
Which makes it even easier for them to take advantage, even if it's not intended, against the person who owes taxes.
I've heard it said that they just will make up something because they want to respond to the taxpayer. And people are going to get some really bad information and they're not going to know.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, call Greg Nunn, None Better Tax Resolution, 425-947-1967, or Google NUNN, None Better Tax Resolution.
My name is Jonas Khan. I'm the founder and chairman of Carbitex. We're based here in Kennewick, Washington. We focus in the testing, development, and manufacturing of flexible carbon fiber composites. And we have about 50 people here in Washington. Operating a business in Washington State has a whole host of challenges. We're an AWB member because as a small, medium-sized business, AWB is able to handle so many aspects of state and federal regulations and changes that we don't have the resources to focus on. And of course, being able to take advantage of Health Choice has been a huge help for Carbitex. As we're structuring our compensation package for our employees who are coming on board, a cornerstone of that is health insurance. Not just any health insurance, it has to be high quality, easy to use, a great network, and we have that with Health Choice. And that's just been extremely helpful for us.
If you're looking for a great health plan for your employees, visit ProPointServices.com. Health Choice Trust is offered through the Association of Washington Business and powered by Primera Blue Cross.
Seattle's Morning News on KIRO News Radio.
All over the weekend, President Trump authorized the deployment of National Guard troops to the city of Portland to protect ICE agents in the city from what the president called Antifa and other domestic terrorists.
We have, of course, been following this story closely as those troops are scheduled to arrive in Portland tomorrow. Meanwhile, the state of Oregon and the city of Portland filing a lawsuit against the Trump administration in response to the impending National Guard troops arriving in the city.
Lots to talk about here. Joining us now, former State Attorney General Rob McKenna once again. Nice to have you with us. What exactly is this lawsuit claiming, Rob?
Well, the lawsuit is claiming that the president doesn't have the authority to mobilize Oregon National Guard troops and send them into Portland. So he's working with, or his government, his administration is working with the Oregon National Guard to put 200 National Guard troops into Portland around the ICE facility there, which is about 2 miles from downtown. And similarly, they sent about 100 troops into Memphis. And this all follows on what happened in L.A., which is a much larger number of National Guard troops, and then in Washington, D.C. So in California, a federal judge has already ruled that at least in his district in California, Trump lacks the legal authority to send federal troops in for crime-fighting purposes. and Oregon is, suing on the same theory, basically.
Could President Trump essentially say, so what, even if a judge were to turn this down, say, no, you can't send the troops there?
I suppose so. This brings us back to a question we've talked about before, which is, what do you do? What does anyone do if the president defies a court order? We haven't come to that point yet, so we just don't know. There's a lot of symbolism here. I mean, 200 troops isn't very many. 100 in Memphis, even fewer. It isn't clear what the president thinks he's accomplishing here, except maybe he wants a crime-fighting role, and he thinks this is the way to get it. In his first term, there were riots, and some neighborhoods were burned, and business districts were burned in some cities, and he didn't take this step. I don't, whether he had the legal authority to do so or not is another question. But I've heard speculation that he regrets that he didn't take stronger action at that time. And even though the circumstances in Portland, Memphis, Washington, D.C., L.A. are quite different, maybe he's deciding this time he wants to show that he's really strong on these issues.
What does the city of Portland have to prove in order for this to be successful?
They have to prove that the president, on the one hand, doesn't have the authority to federalize Oregon National Guard troops for this law enforcement purpose. Federalizing National Guard troops is what we're used to in the context of a war. So many National Guard units were federalized and deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. My dad was in a National Guard unit in the early 1950s, and he was federalized and mobilized and sent to Korea to fight on the front lines. That's what we expect. That's the normal course with National Guard troops. But federalizing them and sending them into for law enforcement purposes isn't clearly authorized by law. In fact, it may violate a law called the Posse Comitatus Act, which expressly prohibits the use of troops for law enforcement purposes.
This presumably is going to be heard in a courtroom in the 9th District. Will that preview any judgment in your estimation, Rob?
Well, you'll be able to tell. This will be in the district court in Oregon. You'll be able to hear the judge's questions and the arguments on both sides. And sometimes the way a judge asks questions or makes statements, you get a clue to how they're going to rule. The fact that Judge Charles Breyer in Southern California already ruled against the administration on this question might also be a preview.
Rob, while we have you, we've spoken about this before. I did a commentary about it yesterday. Want to get your analysis again on over $500 million of state money being paid out in legal settlements. We just had this case this morning. A woman who suffered horrible abuse was awarded $9 million.
This is a pattern. It's a trend that's been growing since before I took office as AG in 2005. And when I left office, we had a couple of years where the payouts were $60 million in a year, $80 million in a year, and now we're looking at years in which you might have $500 million in judgments and settlements. It's way out of proportion to what any other state experiences. I haven't analyzed those numbers, compared them to other states, but I did that when I was AG, and our analysis showed that we were, at that time, routinely paying out 6 times more per year than the state of Massachusetts, which is a comparably sized state, 10 times more than Oregon, a somewhat smaller state. But you get a sense then that even then, our rules were so liberal and generous for plaintiffs that we were way more exposed. And keep in mind, by the way, that these rules don't just expose state government, they also expose local governments to much larger judgments and more frequent lawsuits and settlements and judgments. So this is costing local governments a lot of money as well.
We're just about out of time, but how should the state be addressing this?
What I recommended in 2006 still stands. They being the state legislature with the governor's support, ought to be looking at the legal frameworks that other states have in mind. And they don't have to adopt Texas or Kansas rules here. I argued they could adopt a system similar to Massachusetts or California that has reasonable statutes of limitations, that includes reasonable caps on damages, and other rules that sort of balance the equation, it is really unbalanced right now. This is not to say, as you pointed out in your commentary, Charlie, that people who are harmed shouldn't be compensated. They should. The state should be held accountable. But this is way out of bounds in terms of total amounts being paid out, and other states simply don't do that. And it's costing us a fortune. It's money that isn't available to provide services to kids and elderly adults and so forth.
Former State Attorney General Rob McKenna with some analysis this morning, and Rob said 2006, and I thought, oh, that's not too long ago. That was 19 years ago. Thanks a lot, Rob.
We were all younger then.
Time flies.
For your KIRO News Radio forecast, more showers today and some gusty winds. Highs will be close to 70. Right now, it's about 51 in downtown Seattle. Coming up, more of the day's top stories on Seattle's Morning News. I'm Katrina Gashard. You're listening to KIRO News Radio.
KIRO News Radio is right there with you.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
On your smart speaker before you head out the door.
We continue to be in recovery mode on northbound I-5.
Watch live on YouTube or the KIRO News Radio app.
Newfangled idea of having to see the people while they're talking.
The office, the gym, wherever you are.
Get on the YouTube channel. The whole gang's there.
KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM, powered by MyNorthwest.com, KIRO FM, and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle.
Imagine homes so well designed and so luxurious, they'll be setting the standard for decades. You're imagining a Mainview home. Now imagine a Mainview home on sale, saving $50,000 to $120,000.
Isn't that what Brett and Amy bought?
Yeah, it's a Mainview, and they saved a bundle.
What are you doing?
Looking at the Mainview website. It's now or never.
What's better than a Mainview home? A Mainview home on sale. Mainview communities across the Puget Sound.
At Care Partners Senior Living, we believe in providing quality care at an affordable price. Instead of spending on luxury and expensive art, we invest in our people and accommodations with a focus on compassionate overall health. Our communities offer independent, assisted living, and memory care designed to preserve dignity, independence in your estate. Affordable, personal, trusted. That's our promise. Please give us a call. We have beautiful Care Partners communities throughout Washington and Arizona. Visit carepartnersliving.com.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news.
A minimum wage increase proposal is moving forward in unincorporated King County.
KIRO News Radio.
I had pain, I had numbness in my feet. That pain and that numbness just got worse and worse and worse as time went on.
This is Greg describing life with neuropathy.
I went to 5 podiatrists, tried different treatments, tried different orthotics, tried different shoes, had cortisone shots in the tops and the bottoms of my feet. Saw a neurologist. All my medical doctors said, can't help you. Live with the pain. You're not going to be able to sleep. This is your life. And then I just gave up until I found Sound Pain Solutions.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. Our neuropathy treatments can rehabilitate damaged nerves. We use FDA-cleared, non-surgical, drug and pain-free procedures that help neuropathy sufferers like Greg find relief.
I feel better. just feeling better is huge.
If you experience numbness, shooting or burning pains, or loss of balance, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025 or click soundpainsolutions.com.
Contractors and heavy equipment operators, get ready for a big one. The James D. Murphy Company brings you the huge Marysville Heavy Equipment, Contractors Equipment, Trucks, and Vehicles online auction. And bidding is underway now. On the auction block, 10 excavators, including a 2021 Komatsu PC88MR and a 2018 Komatsu PC238, a 2017 Komatsu WA320-8 wheel loader, a 2003 John Deere 770 OCH motor grader, plus 4 backhoes, 3 reach lifts, and 4 boom lifts. There's 5 dump trucks, including a 2015 Peterbilt 367 Super Solo and 2 Western Star quad-axle roll-off trucks and much more. Preview all equipment equipment Tuesday, October 7th and Wednesday, October the 8th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at our Marysville yard, 3803 136th Street Northeast in Marysville. Get all details now at murphyauction.com. That's murphyauction.com.
Hey, it's John Curley with some great news. If your home's heating or cooling is uneven, noisy, or expensive, listen up. The Quilt Ductless Heat Pump System from Home Comfort Alliance is changing the game. It gives you room-by-room control and next-gen efficiency, so you're only heating where you need it. That means real comfort and real savings, and every Quilt system qualifies for max tax credits. Trusted for 50 years. Call the comfort people today at homecomfortalliance.com.
Experience the thrill of seeing orcas and humpback whales with Puget Sound Express. Join their family-run tours for guaranteed whale sightings, departing daily from Edmonds. These are Seattle's most popular and well-reviewed whale tours. Book now at PugetSoundExpress.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A deadly attack in the UK on the highest of Jewish holy days.
I'm Vicky Barker in London. Specialist armed police outside the Heaton Park Synagogue in Manchester, moments after gunning down the suspect in a car and stabbing rampage. Prime Minister Keir Starmer said he's appalled by the attack, which came on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the Jewish calendar.
Additional police assets are being deployed to synagogues across the country.
2 people were killed, 3 are in critical condition. Bomb squads are still investigating whether the suspect was carrying an explosive. Here in the U.S., operations on Capitol Hill are paused for the Jewish holiday on this second day of a government shutdown. But the blame game continues. Massachusetts Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren.
You know how many negotiations there have been? 0. And the Republicans are saying they won't negotiate when there's not a shutdown. They won't negotiate when there is a shutdown.
House Speaker Mike Johnson.
We have 3 months for Congress to do its deliberate work. All we're saying is while that work is done on these and other issues, keep the lights on for the American people.
Both lawmakers on CBS Mornings. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers remain furloughed. At New York's LaGuardia Airport last night.
We have 2 CRJs on mics that collided.
2 Delta regional jets crashed into each other. CBS's Tom Hansen is at the airport.
Well, a total of 93 people were on board both of those flights. That includes our very own CBS News producer, Joey Annunziato. He actually captured video of the aftermath. Now, he described a chaotic scene where people were shouting after the impact and asking each other what exactly happened.
A flight attendant was injured. Sean Combs will be sentenced tomorrow for his conviction on prostitution-related charges. His former stylist, Deontay Nash, who filed a lawsuit last week accusing the rap mogul of physically and sexually abusing him for years, has spoken exclusively with CBS's Jerika Duncan.
So who are we going to tell? Like, who exactly were we going to tell? Who are we going to call? Ghostbusters? Like, there was no one there to save us.
Combs denies Nash's claims. Snapchat will start charging its heaviest users for storage. CBS's Michael Wallace.
You can save photos and videos in Snapchat's Memories feature, which the company says has grown so much it needs to expand its infrastructure. It's storing more than 1 trillion memories. So, in a rare move for a social media platform, starting next fall, Snapchat will charge users with more than 5 gigabytes of memories, the equivalent of thousands of snaps, a monthly fee.
That fee between $2 and $15. Dow futures down 21. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit Progressive.com today.
6:03 on a Thursday morning. We check in with Sully at the traffic desk.
And we had a pretty significant car fire burning on southbound I-5, getting out of the Everett area, which has blocked 3 lanes. Now, this is right before you get to the Boeing Freeway, and we're backing up pretty quickly, as you'd imagine, as you get rid of that many lanes in that area. So plan on about a 50-minute trip already from Everett to Seattle or Bellevue, with all of that slowing, that 20-minute delay right there before you even get out of Everett, really. To the other side of our commute, we have a crash blocking the HOV lane on northbound I-5 right by the Tacoma Dome, actually just before the Puyallup River Bridge. It's over on the left-hand side blocking the HOV lane, already 30 minutes from Tacoma to Federal Way, which is about a a 15-minute delay, and you got 40 minutes from Federal Way to Seattle. Continuing to work with an hour drive from Puyallup to Renton because of the brake lights up through the lane restrictions in Pacific. And then after that, about a 20-minute drive from Renton to Bellevue. Olympia to Tacoma, not too bad for you guys. 35 minutes to start the day. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan.
Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and MyNorthwest.com.
Live from East Lake Avenue.
You're listening to Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
Good morning. It's 6:04. The deployment of National Guard troops to Portland has been postponed by a couple of days.
The state's Department of Military blamed the delay on administrative tasks. KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey was there on the ground in Portland earlier this week, and now he is here in the studio live.
Yeah, those 200 National Guard troops were supposed to be there today. They're delayed because they have to figure out logistics, like how do you get all of those troops to that facility in Portland? Where are they going to sleep? How do you feed 200 soldiers? And what exactly are they going to do once they're there? Well, Alex Scarlatos is a former guardsman and a state representative in Oregon. He's also a Republican.
But at the end of the day, it's going to just be a lot of peacekeeping, and I imagine their presence is going to try to tone down a lot of what's going on outside of the ICE facility in particular.
So let's talk about the scope of violence outside that ICE facility. The Trump administration is portraying Portland right now as war-ravaged. There have absolutely been some violent exchanges between Homeland Security officers, ICE, and protesters at that facility there. Rubber bullets, pepper spray, rock throwing from the other side. From what I saw and what Portland Police Chief Bob Day says, that violence, however, is confined to a very, very small area.
This is one city block. City of Portland is about 145 square miles. This is one city block. And even the events that are happening down there do not rise to the level of attention that they are receiving.
The chief also says what's perpetuating those images